Well, good evening, everybody. Oh, sorry about the throat. Uh, just waiting for YouTube to catch up so we can verify that everything's working. I don't seem to have any volume. Now we have. Okay. So, again, good evening. Steve, the only one in the chat so far.
Yeah, but he went away.
Yeah. But, and what a nice day it's been, complete with a lovely little rain shower. And it's nice. I can look out the window now and look up the garden now we've cleared it all out.
Evening, Gary.
Good evening, Gary. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, it was thanks again to our mate who comes around and cuts the lawn for me. He came round Bank Holiday Monday and all of us went out the back and had a good clear up, cleared most of the patio as well. Good evening, Marines. Stitch, Resist, Lil Stitch, good evening, good evening. So yeah, it's opened up a bit of light, and what used to look like a hedge is now a few shrubs about 3 foot shorter. Eh?
A few sticks.
A few sticks, yeah. And the hazelnut tree now actually looks quite nice. It actually looks like a tree again instead of a fucking shrub. But anyway, on with tonight. Now I wrote these notes out as if I was doing a video. I was going to do a video today. I was that tired that I didn't get round to doing it, so I'll go through this one to start with. Now, Starmer's put a lot in place to silence us, censor us. Few people being jailed, well, more than a few, being jailed just for exercising their freedom of speech, freedom of expression. But this is where it gets interesting. Yeah, I'll move on to that in a bit, Gary. I've got some other news on that. But yeah, it's getting interesting because Starmer invited some of the top influencers of social media platforms to a meeting in number 10. I won't mention any names, but they are apparently were top influencers. And apparently the question he wants to ask, or was going to ask them, is what makes for a successful online presence. Now, this is obviously, as someone said earlier, he wants to try and appeal to the younger votes, and that falls absolutely in line with him wanting to give 16-year-old kids a vote. People that know nothing about life, as we know, they've never paid a bill in their life. They've never had to budget a household. They've been given everything they need, really. Never had to work. And as soon as they finish their indoctrination regime, education, that's all still fresh in their mind. And he wants to get in touch with them. Well, I would say, comrade, you go and do it. And I will sit back and watch you make a bigger twat of yourself than you've ever done before. To be a big online presence, which isn't me, by the way, the viewing figures show that, you have to have a human presence. You have to be able to interact and speak to normal, free thinking people. None of which he can fucking do. You know, and now think about how they censor us misinformation, lying, incitement, and just putting the fear of God into people, basically. You know, if we did what they do, I mean, I got pulled down myself at one point, well, twice, suspended for alleged misinformation, which it wasn't. But nowadays, misinformation would get you absolutely thrown off a platform. So, he goes online. Can he put things out that incite? Incitement, not so much, I wouldn't have thought. They're not dumb enough for that. Or maybe they are. But they could certainly make people fear for their lives. They could feel alarmed and very distressed at some of the stuff they put out. Surely all the false figures that they've been putting out on the economy, immigration, surely that amounts to misinformation. Some of it verges on malinformation, but a lot of it is misinformation. So we can be put in jail, basically, for that sort of shit. Now, I'm not saying by any means that people should do this, because you shouldn't. But why is it that Ofcom and these social media platforms aren't absolutely swamped with complaints about any government posts? All parties post on the internet, on all platforms. Now, I would say, even if you did complain, that you know the platforms are never going to uphold it, likes of YouTube and places like that. Twitter, you'll probably get away with it, but yeah, you know, why aren't they swamped with complaints? Well, one, if you want to uphold a complaint nowadays, it seems like it's got to be done in court, which most people can't afford. And even those that can afford it, come up against a biased justice system. Good evening, Moo. You know, we know the justice system isn't fit for purpose at the moment anyway, and it's going to get worse with this new crime and policing bill or act or whatever it is they're doing. But don't ever do that, because they will class it as incitement. Good evening, Scar. But that's just some notes I was going to use to make a video today that I never got round to it. You know, I've got a few notes here of highlights of things, topics that can be brought up. But how are you, Scar? The Beeb News used to make me alarmed and distressed. Yeah, it can do it now if you look at it and watch it. I mean, I've picked up a few stories from Sky, Gary, and they are putting up more and more about the immigrants, the rapes, the attacks, and they're showing more and more of the failings. But as we know, it's not too long before Sky News, as it were, on Freeview and where most people watch it, is going to be shutting down. It's going to be in with their world news program or something. So are they turning? They seem to be having a bit of a dig. But now, you know, you're talking about alarm 2006, is it, Gary? Thank you. I know it's going to be pretty soon. Datura, good evening. Another newcomer to the show. Welcome. Not about incitement and putting in people in fear and what have you, like they can complain that we do with some of the stuff we put out. You've got this story coming out now about storage of excess bodies, with putting out with contracts for storage of bodies away from the normal areas, mobile morgues. I've even heard stories about they're looking at mobile incinerators, or crematoriums, as they say. But why are they doing this? You know, alongside this, are we going to see them act the same as the Tories? So all of a sudden, one of their family or their friends going to get a nice contract to supply body bags? It's a sign or contract scam. Yeah, well, this is the thing that they keep saying they're buying them up, but they're not. What they're doing is they're paying other companies to do it. Now, one, if they're just using refrigerated tents, well, you've got the Nightingale hospitals they could have used for that, so why pay for more? But why all of a sudden do they want storage for excess bodies? Yeah, we haven't heard any of them, Datura. The Tories promised them. I don't even know if any got started. But no, they're putting this out there, and it is public knowledge. So, you know, is somebody else going to start up manufacturing embalming fluid even? Because if they get all these extra bodies, they're going to need extra embalming fluid. But there again, we had an insight into this. Obviously, we've got someone very close in the family who is a funeral director. Now, if you remember back during lockdowns and the pandemic, we were told by them that there was no extra bodies coming through. Those that were any extra were due to natural causes of things like, you know, being locked up at home, not getting treatment. But Heather phoned her about, did you phone her or did you message her?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
Forgot.
But she's the sort of person that if they had any instructions or any warning that there could be a mass increase in the need for these sort of facilities, there isn't one there. They haven't had nothing. Same as they did during the pandemic.
But what I will do after tonight is ask her to check with the bosses.
Yeah, ask around
to
in
make
the trade.
Sure that they haven't been approached by somebody, or and the result will come back to you either next week in the live or one of Roger's videos.
So there you go. We'll ask on the wider field, or she will on our behalf, and we'll see what results we get back on that, because surely that would be the government's first port of call if they deemed that something was going to happen. Are they going to make something happen? You know, I mean, good evening, Jen. No, if he's going to use the excuse of a threat from Russia, well, what Russia would throw over, because they wouldn't come across country and invade, because they've got to come all the way across Europe. So anything they do to us would be an aerial bombardment, which you'd need, well, you wouldn't need facilities to store bodies because there wouldn't be many left. Are they thinking there's a violent uprising or something like that going to happen? Have they got wind of a mass terrorist attack or something? Have they got intelligence? Well, you can't put intelligence together with them fucking idiots, but yeah, not too bad, Jen. Not too bad. Yeah, and I mean, that's the only threat that Russia could do to us, Gary, at the moment. I mean, most of their ground troops are committed in the Ukraine. So the only thing they'd have to throw at us would be aerial shit. You know, it's... and Starmer has basically alienated, as I said in the video in the week, but alienated ourselves from the biggest fucking ally we've had, and one that is actually trying to sort out a lot of shit, which he's been told to keep his fucking beak out of, along with the EU, but they keep trying to poke it in. But yeah, they suffered the huge embarrassment when basically Trump ignored Starmer and actually kicked von der Leyen out the talks because she wasn't a country's leader. But Starmer's, oh yeah, we come out of it well. Yeah, fuck, did he? Well, that's Scar. Now, I do not believe in my heart that even if ordered to do so, that most of the British Army would not fire on their own people. I believe in my heart that they would refuse to carry out any order to fire on our own people.
Me too.
You know, they're not blind. They can see what's going on in the country. Yes, the army will try and brainwash them, but even the brass stood up to Starmer and said, no, we won't send our lads to the Ukraine, when he was on about putting them in to actually back up the Ukraine. Yeah, but Datura, the so-called new army, they're not going to follow any orders that Starmer gives. You know, after us, they're probably the next lot that they'd take down. I mean, I know veterans. Most of my mates served over the years. Virtually all the bike club I was in, they were all made up of ex-servicemen. And, you know, they say you got a chance. And as for conscription, can you see them dragging the teenagers off the streets today and actually asking them to fight? Fucking hell. They'll either get their false tits caught in the fucking equipment or they turn the guns on themselves. You could never get a working army out of what's on the fucking streets now.
Everybody would turn gay and they wouldn't question.
And as I say, the so-called DEI hiring for the forces, well, most of those would readily turn on the government as soon as they're trained anyway. So, so yeah, conscription. No, just it wouldn't work in this country anymore. And those that are old and fit enough, the only ones that would join are the bully boys. They wouldn't be doing it because they're fighting for king and country. Well, have we got a fucking king? That's another story and a half. Would they be fighting for king and country, or would they be fighting just because they want to kill somebody?
I will kill you.
But yeah, I don't. Conscription, this middle finger to Starmer. Well, I'd be totally unfit anyway, Gary. But no, he's making some and people are missing what's going on in the background. Now, the big focus on the moment is the immigrants in the hotels. Yeah, we won't be long, Scar. What they've been doing, how much it's costing us. And obviously we've got the two-tier policing all around that as well. They, every bloody time, they just prove what we say, even though they say it doesn't exist. You know, the only trouble at these protests are not by the locals or the people protesting against the hotel. It's coming from the far left, those that like to cover their faces. You know, they get bussed in. They come in on the train. They get paid to come. And then they're escorted right up to the front of the peaceful protesters where they can cause trouble. Well, a couple of times last weekend, didn't they? They actually turned on the police. So that taught the police a lesson. But as always, the police keep bleating on. We learn from our mistakes. And as we see, they fucking don't. So, all part of the plan. Well, we've said this for a while now, and I've been saying it for quite some time, Moo, as you know. I believe, yes, the government are pushing people to stand up. They're pushing people to fight back simply for that reason. Two things. One, as you say, if the army would do it, because the police aren't strong enough, there ain't nowhere near enough of them. I forgot where I was fucking going with that now. Yeah, I do believe that's what he's pushing for, because it exerts that bit of control. And, you know, he hasn't got a lot, but he's trying to make it so he has. So, yeah, he can lock the country down, because it would be classed as a countrywide event. He could actually cancel the next election. There's two good reasons for him doing it. Hire a van or a bus are only in the right side of history. Yeah. If tents were good enough on a disaster zone, why can't they be good enough for them here? Exactly, Scott. Exactly. Now they keep saying, oh, they're detaining these. They detain this many. Well, basically, yes, they can claim that. Because when they come in illegally, they are detained at the border while they're processed. When they land at Dover, most of them are processed and detained in Dover before they're shipped out to various hotels and wherever. So yes, they are detaining them, as they say. But what they're not saying is they're letting the fuckers go again. Because as soon as they get in a hotel, many of them just disappear into the framework, which we know they're either being kept either by sleeper cells, you could say, but they're being kept because they would never ever survive in the wild in this country, no matter how many fucking swans they eat. You know, they'd be noticed. So, and apparently there's 150,000 of these fuckers running around that they don't know where they are or what they're up to. So as soon as they come in, Farage has got the right idea. Yes, they are detained, and they're detained until they're deported, not put in hotels where they can do what they fucking want and cost us a fortune. And as I think it was it Scar? Yeah, Scar said, the tents are good enough for relief in these third world countries, but they're not good enough here. They've got a very, very big problem on their hands. And then on top of the flack he's getting for that, we've now got the Lucy Connolly release, haven't we? With it seems that Elon Musk is getting involved in that. Also, which is nice to hear, is the he wants to maybe get involved and fund cases against those that were involved in the grooming gangs. Anybody in authority that was, going to trial for helping them, covering it up. At this point, I'd actually welcome Elon's intervention on that, because it's still going nowhere. They're holding up the inquiries. They're desperate to hide stuff. But as we've said before, you can never totally hide your tracks. They tried and failed many times. The tagging don't work, Scar. It doesn't even work with the criminals we've got now tagged. I did mention it a little while back. There was a very good documentary on just how it's failing that was on one night. Chip them. Yeah, but again, the sort of lunatics they are. They'd think nothing of sticking a knife in their arm or the back of their hand to remove a chip. Yeah, Neuralink. Yeah, go digging around in their brains. But, there's only one answer, and it's the one I've always given. Before they can sort out the problems in this country with the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, I'll say, they've got to stop them coming. Because no matter what they do, the numbers coming are going to overwhelm the numbers they want to send back or say they're going to send back. It just ain't going to work. But now he does seem to be keeping the focus on this when he's talking. But think about this. The legal immigration is as big a threat as these coming over on rubber boats. Now, you look at most of these, shall I say, minority religious people that you see at these protests on the streets. They've been here for quite some time. And most of them have probably come legally. They're the big threat when it comes to physical shit. And there's a lot more of them than there is coming across in fucking boats. Yeah, Scott, to me, it's more shameful than when they exposed what the Roman Catholic Church was doing with kids. Well, all churches have been exposed, basically. But yeah, I think it is an embarrassment to this country. Yeah, I've been thinking that and saying that for a while, Gary. It's because people didn't stand up soon enough. Okay, raise the colours is an excellent way of shouting at the government, this is how we feel. But they're too arrogant to take any fucking notice. And this is why I think Starmer is doing what he's doing, because he's pushing for a more physical pushback, shall I say. Countries, yeah. And, there are more and more waking up, more and more seeing what's going on, especially as more and more of it is shown on mainstream media. Although mainstream media only sees one side of the story. These nasty people have put, I think it's up to 1 million flags up last weekend. doesn't say why these alleged nasty people have hung all these flags up, does it? Yeah, we've got them down our road. We've got them in the window.
Well, they're obviously doing it everywhere because it's dangerous.
Well, yeah. But it is a nice thing to see, a rise of patriotism like that. And when you look at the people that are doing it and the people that are standing up and saying what it's about, it's all colours. It's not just white people putting them up. It's not just white people standing out and saying that it's a good idea. You know, I said that in the video the other day because I actually know somebody who's quite proud of it being up there, who is a Muslim, you know. But if they're not going to integrate in the country, then they shouldn't be here, and I don't believe they can integrate. You know, it's I won't say evolution has passed them by, but because that would be quite nasty. But they just live by different values. They don't give a shit. They wouldn't worry about walking into the middle of a public beach, taking a dump. You know, what Englishman would think of doing that? Maybe the odd one or two when they're absolutely wankered, maybe. But, yeah. I live in a liberal area, 0 flags. I don't have ladders. Yeah, the only reason there ain't one on the flagpole out on the flagpole, on the lamppost out here, Gary, is because with my physical conditions, I just wouldn't be safe going up a ladder.
No, but I'd happily give the lads down the road some money for some more flags if they wanted to do this all.
Could you imagine if I want to leave them? Yeah, that's another way of looking at it, Moo. If they'd have just come in, kept their fucking trap shuts, kept their fucking hands to themselves is the important one, and actually act like they're fucking grateful for everything they've been given, which is far more than a lot of English people get given. You know, people might have looked on them a bit different. But the fact that they were forced on us, forced into our communities, forced into holiday hotels, they ruined holidays in this country in a lot of areas just by their very presence. You've got them all over the beaches at the holiday resorts. Well, I believe that's organised. That's the same as the praying in public and the going to sort out in nature. That's all organised. That's just to try and show dominance. Good evening, Simon. How you doing, Mucker?
He's been off enjoying himself.
Yeah, been on holiday. But, yeah, you know.
And you, Simon?
They're not interested in integrating. And any of them that stand up and do, like that one did for the TV interview for ITV, they're just saying what they're fed. You know? You fucked. But, yeah, it's... I mean, up in the town, we don't see many here. Yes, we've got a hotel full of them, the Ramada, a couple of miles up the road here. The areas where they say they're walking about and causing aggro, basically, is along the area where, if you remember back in my early YouTube days, I used to walk along a nice little brook, purposely made path, like a cycle path as well. And it was a nice walk out. Well, one, I haven't had the energy to do them walks along there. And I'm quite glad I am, because apparently that's where they've been spotted. But And if I went to protest up there, I'd be jumping in the car every 5 minutes and coming home for a fucking piss. Again, because of my medical conditions. But there you go. But yeah, the Lucy Connolly one, I think she's going to tear him a new one. There's people online, very hateful people on Twitter. I won't give any names, but they've already tried to report her to the police for this, that, and the other. Some of the things she said in her interview. Well, if the police thought she'd said anything wrong in her interview, they'd have gone round and arrested her without some nasty little bitch reporting her. That's one of them, Gary. Yeah, there are several others. Yeah, I'm very rarely on there, Simon, now, mate. Obviously, I'm still a moderator on Dan's, and he doesn't put a lot on there now. I still get alerts if anything's changed on there. I've got my own one, as you know, as well. Basically, at the moment, the only thing that gets used for is Gordo posting pictures of his fishing and that. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this is why, as you know, this is why I started to do my own lives. I don't go on anybody else's lives because I can't be doing with that. You know. Okay, we don't get a lot of people in here, but yeah, we talk about things. You don't have to agree with each other. I mean, I've got one who watches these live streams the following day, and he kind of communicates with comments as he's watching it by the looks of things. And he made one comment where he disagreed with something I said, and I just commented back, it's fine, you disagree with what I said, that's not a problem. You know, you've got your own opinion, you're entitled to that as well as I am to mine. I said, so I'm not going to fall out about it. You know, you openly said you didn't agree with what I said. Absolutely fine. You don't have to. But the only thing I ask, and it has worked on here, is that if you're going to disagree with somebody and you want to debate somebody in the chat or whatever, then you do it respectfully. You know? Yeah, but that's personal debate, darling. That usually goes one way anyway, because you're the quickest to get over here and slap me round the back of the head.
Will you stop telling people I'm horrible to you?
I usually get the last words in an argument, and it's always yes, dear. Which usually winds her up even more.
You're as bad as Starmer nicking Farage's lines. Stop with my... Oh, yes, dear.
Yeah, you know, you try and calm a situation down, and I'm the sort of person that just makes it worse because I can't shut up once I start.
But you do. You tell me I'm wrong. I'm coming from a day at work, and you think you should watch more YouTube. I can't be arsed. That's what I've got you for. Why have a dog and bark? You tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And tell me I'm wrong when I've got just a thought that's slightly different to what you know.
No, I would say there, Scar, that no, the last word is ouch if something hits you, but
I don't know.
See what I mean? I didn't say it. I said that's what could happen.
I do not throw stuff at you.
I know you don't.
Hurt you. I do not grab you. I am not vicious in any way, shape, or form, and yet you portray me to be the villain.
Anyway, about this non-drama stream that I run.
Look, everybody's in fits of giggles. Scott, if he ever said sorry as the last comment, I would not have to say yes, dear. 10 times. Tells me something, yes, dear. And then he'll tell me again, yes, dear. But then he'll rephrase it, yes, dear. And then he tells me not to argue with him. Yes, dear.
She has to prove me wrong before I say sorry and I admit that I was wrong. Which she has done on many occasions, I will admit.
Proof.
Oh, fucking hell. Need to get you a Kraken.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, fucking hell.
So horrible to him. I'm a wicked, wicked woman. Told him if you
Wicked, wicked witch of the West Midlands.
Told him if you don't like it, you can fuck off. But he won't have it.
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, chubby fingers, King Charles. I said earlier, how the fuck can he run a country when he can't even keep his own family under control? They still get triggered by the crap. To be honest, God bless. I was just interested who was still about. And I had a look earlier on. I can't see a certain Ginger on there anymore. Glenn, it looks like he's gone. Yeah, they're nowhere to be seen.
Everybody's left.
I still see there are drama streams out there. It seems there's again, I won't name the auditor, but there seems to be some accusation levelled at an auditor, and there's a big hoo-ha about that. But, and I don't watch it. I occasionally watch Marty, when he covers the protests. And I do watch the protests at weekends.
That's why I go out.
Glenn's blind. Glenn's blind, but also found out Ginger, not seen for many months. Fuck 'em. Yeah, exactly. So Glenn went blind. Fucking hell. It's not something you'd wish on anybody. Well, unless they're coming at you with a fucking machete, I suppose. Makes it easier to get out of their way. But yeah, I haven't been looking around. I just couldn't be bothered with them. But I just thought, I wonder if they're still about.
We should have known to ask God bless.
Alcohol,
He knows
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian pops in usually on a Wednesday to say hello. Budgie's dropped in on the odd occasion. But, it's... But yeah, that's sad, that, God bless. And of course, his mother was on her last legs as well, wasn't she? Oh dear. A lot of it about. I shouldn't put it that way, really. That sounds really callous, doesn't it? Yeah, I've also suffered memory loss many a time through it as well, Moo, in my younger days. Used to spend 2 days walking around asking everybody what I'd fucking done. They used to tell me some of the antics. I said, well, I can't do that. I've never tried that before. They said, well, apparently you can after a bottle of Jack Daniels. And I have lost a couple of good friends through alcohol. Literally, alcohol has caused their death. Not by drink driving or anything silly like that, just purely the amount they drank. And to watch someone go down that route It's not a nice thing to see. But yeah, now I know. But oh yeah, talking of protests. Now I warned about this a week or so ago. Well, more than a week or so ago. Tommy's rally in London on the 13th of September. You've had a fibre scan. Now I've got to see a consultant. I got a scan next week, actually, Gary, from the cardiac department. Yeah, already now other people are starting to post about the road works and road restrictions, the train alterations, the emergency work on the railways, all happening between Friday the 12th and Sunday the 14th of September. It's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it?
But and all the hotels booked.
Yeah. You'll have traffic restrictions actually in London. They'll probably put things in place so you can't get too close with a cabbie. So check your plans, look at backup plans, or go a few days before. Not that I'd want to stay in London any longer than I fucking had to if I could get there.
It's the price and the availability of somewhere to start.
But being as it's about free speech and what have you and censorship, wouldn't it be lovely to see Elon fly in?
Skype.
Okay.
Skype, Teams.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to come.
I'm sure he could send a video, or as Heather just said, it wouldn't take too much for him to do with the screens and the tech they have at this thing, to actually do a Skype call with him or something. Let him speak to the crowd. That might shock Starmer a little bit.
We know nobody uses Skype, but I'm old.
Van life, yeah, but they're making that harder, Gary. They're making it harder and harder to just live a van life, as it were. There are people, a lot of people doing it, but there are also a lot of people that after their first year or their first 6 months, many of them do give up. 7 massive screens, I believe. Yeah, I mean, his events are usually well organised, but you can guarantee, Gary, that the police are going to antagonise somewhere. They won't let it go off peaceably. They'll change the route at the last minute of marching to it, or they'll squash them into little thin areas to walk through, and they will put every obstacle they can in their way. Every time. And the police aren't going to change their tune. The ones that have are the ones that are leaving. Oh, there'll be a lot of probably Wi-Fi interference, Moo. As we know, in certain areas, they have the capability to even turn the Wi-Fi off. But they know if they just turn the thing down a bit, there'll be that many people that will be trying to live stream and what have you. It'll just overload it. So I wouldn't be at all surprised. Be interesting if mainstream media turn up. We know Tommy's hatred for them. Yeah, again, Scott, it'd be interesting to see if the police that are there are tooled up to the fucking nines and wearing riot gear, or if they'll just be in their yellow with batons and gas and tasers. Oh, Gary, you can guarantee there's going to be arrests. You can guarantee it. Now, Tommy's already put videos out, and I've said exactly the same. If you're going, don't wear a face mask, because they will put a section 66AA in place. Don't rise to any provocation from the police, or if they let the lefty wankers get anywhere near it, because there will be counter protests. And just keep it peaceful. Don't give them any excuse to turn round and turn on the peaceful people. And then, if it kicks off, you can turn around and say, well, look, we didn't start it. They're the ones that started it.
You have to excuse me for a moment, darling. I need to nip upstairs.
Yeah, all right.
Do you want anything while I'm away?
No, I'm fine. I got a bit of coke in
I was
there.
going to say that what there was a question at the end of that.
Yeah. Gary, I'm expecting to get arrested beforehand here. But yeah, you're going to get them everywhere. As soon as you've got a big gathering of people, there's the ones that are going to be drinking. And going to somewhere like that where you've got to be peaceful, and you've got to be, to a certain extent, with counter protests. You've interrupted me again, and I've lost where I was. You've got to be very tolerant of what you're being shouted. Very tolerant. And unfortunately, people with alcohol in them, they lose that intolerance.
But Gary's right. Tommy Robinson may be arrested.
He may well. He may well be.
He's never going to get there if they can hang on to him.
Oh yeah, they'll try and find something, and they'll leave it to the last minute, so they
Hopefully
can.
he's gone into hiding.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, considering the amount of the people they're expecting to turn up. So, yeah, it could well be, Gary. A bit late to start putting stuff in place now. But I've been saying for a long time, with the state of London now, I would say to anybody that's up there, leave London while you can. Build a fucking wall around the place with watchtowers. You know, leave the politicians in there as well. They want these people here. Let them fucking deal with them. And then all the ones at the hotel, throw in there as well. Basis of a new film there, isn't there? To finish the trilogy. Escape from London. Along with LA and New York. Auto turrets, yeah. You know, people can visit. We pay to go up on the wall so you can lean over the wall and mock them and throw them bones and shit. Yeah. I mean, with Khan now, I mean, London's lost. Until Khan, they get Khan out. London is absolutely lost. He's just an evil little weasel. And how he ever thought he was going to get an invite to meet with Vance while he was over here. He stood no fucking chance. Well, whatever was he thinking? They've been quite open that they don't like him. He's a nasty, evil little man, the worst mayor of any city in the world. Yeah. He's just another arrogant little git. I mean, I think it's Brighton now. One of the most famous English seaside towns in this country has got a mayor that can't speak a word of fucking English. How can you run an English town when you can't speak fucking English? I've never heard of anything so fucking dumb in my life. Yeah, I am being kind to him, Scar. I mean, we know Big Brother watches this, and if I said what I really think of the little twat, the stream would be pulled down in a heartbeat. That's how badly I think of him. Well, and Starmer, to be honest. And you think now with and the immigration and the hotel issue is a crisis now. I would absolutely call it a crisis. Now, government has been recalled. Must be clear. Government has been recalled for a lot less things during their summer break. People were calling, MPs were calling for them to come back in and sort out this shit. And where's the main cause of it, Cooper? Oh, she's fucking hiking up some mountain somewhere. You know? Unbelievable. But of course they did release pictures of the press of her going up. As for the ginger growler, well, yeah, we've got to cut down on and persecute the people that have got more than one property. And then in a heartbeat, she goes out and spends nearly 800,000 on a third one down on the south coast. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Scar. And I think this is where Starmer wants it to head. So he can put things in place. He can seize control of everything. Yeah. But the rest of the world is seeing now. The only ones that, well, listen to him sometimes is the, what they call them, the coalition of the twats, the coalition of the willing. When I turn into Hulk. And basically, nobody wants to speak to them. Trump's openly said it. They're a bunch of idiots. And I do believe now that Trump will punish the UK. He'll have to do it and punish the whole UK because it's the only way it's going to get to Starmer. But yeah, he's had enough of it. He's had enough of being lied to, like the rest of us. But once he started this new shit with the online safety bill, which is not what it was designed for or even talked about for, it's not about protecting the kids and women. We know that. We always said it's full-on censorship, and that's what it's become. You know, as I said earlier, Ofcom are in the government pocket, as it were, now. But it was nice to see that American platform basically telling them to go fuck themselves when Ofcom tried to fine them. But there again, it's another lie today, obviously. Price cap on energy going up, gas and electric. Now, I can remember them saying that we won't put energy prices up. In fact, we'll reduce them by everybody by £300 a year. People are feeling better because they've got more money in their pocket. Yeah, right up to the point where they need to spend it on even basics like food, heating, transport, all going up. So they're not putting any money into anybody's fucking pocket. The little pittance that they are allowing certain people gets soaked up in their everyday life. So nobody's better off. If anybody says they feel better off, I would honestly say they're either in the elite bracket or they're lying. But yeah, again, as I keep saying, there's more and more dots being added to the picture. And you've got to keep joining them up to see the truth of what's going on. But anyway, Oh, pardon me. And now being co-host. Yeah, God bless. It's now, obviously, he's always said he prefers Davos to Parliament. Are they controlling him? Is this what they want? Because all they're going to do is end up him handing them over a broken down, destroyed fucking country because it's had a civil fucking war in it. You know? Yeah, I mean, Starmer saying we got to prepare for this, that, and the other, you know, the great apocalypse, as it were. Well, how can you save and prepare for the future when you don't grow anything? You don't produce any power. I mean, if Europe turned us off, we'd be fucked, power-wise. Same with food-wise. This country now cannot produce enough food to sustain itself. You just might be able to do it on a survival level, but that's about it. And that includes a clean fucking water supply, mind. Yeah, we are, God bless. Absolutely. We're paying 4 times as much as those countries that are supplying us with it. And they know we've got to buy it because we can't produce our own. You know, the renewable energy is a farce. It's not renewable energy. The wind turbines cost more in maintenance than they're ever going to make. They're not biodegradable. They're toxic waste. Yeah, there is that, Gary. But be careful which ones you get. Certain ones remove certain elements from water. Won't be a shortage of allow me now. Well, to be honest, God bless, if it came down to a survival situation, most of the meat eaten in this country would end up as halal meat because people would be slaughtering it themselves.
Wouldn't pray over it though.
Yeah, you wouldn't pray over it and shit, but as Ella says. Yeah, life expectancy of the wind turbines, Gary, I've never actually looked into it, but I know they're already scrapping a load and they're exporting them to countries that will dispose of them. You know, they're not biodegradable, they're not recyclable. Unless you've got a firearm or something, Simon, it is hard if you've only got a knife and you want to dispatch an animal. It doesn't matter whether you go heart and lung through the shoulder or whether you go through the throat, they're going to suffer. Yeah, and look at the ones that aren't investing in it, Scott. In green energy now. Again, even Trump and Vance have said it. And, you know, they are destroying the countryside. We're trying to push it. I mean, I looked around the area on Google Maps where I was born in Berkshire. And there are literally around the little villages, there are just fields and fields of these solar panels. Again, the materials in them, the maintenance of them. Don't forget they have to be constantly cleaned. It's the green agenda just isn't going to work. Far from it. Well, this country is cutting its own throat, God bless, or the government's cutting the throat of the country with what they're doing. I mean, there hasn't been, as far as I can remember, a Labour government that didn't leave the country in a total financial fucking mess. But this lot have taken the biscuit with the shit state they've got it into. Feels costly. She just hasn't got a clue. She really hasn't got a clue. I mean, you know, they're looking at bringing in this property tax now like they have in America. If your house is worth over £500,000. Well, unless you're living in a fucking box, £500,000, it is fuck all for a house nowadays. When you look at the prices that they're going for. And the thing is, it's only people with money that are buying them up. And it's even worse now because a certain ethnic group that do have a lot of money are buying these properties up in view of turning them into HMOs, which councils, Labour ones especially, will give them permission for. So what's the point of councils saying, yeah, we'll take them to court to shut down the migrant hotels in their area, but they'll still allow HMOs to operate? Surely that defeats the object, because they'll be moving them out the hotels into HMOs. So they need to play the game on that. Unfortunately, most HMOs are granted residential status, which a lot of hotels don't. And this is how they got them down at Epping. Oh, it'll go on for generations, Scott. It's going to take many generations to repair the damage that these fucking idiots have done to this country. In 1 year. It's only taken them 1 fucking year to do this. Yeah. I mean, I did hear a funny one today about the Queers for Palestine, I think it is they call themselves. Gays for Palestine, whatever. One young lad turned round and said, no, yeah, you want that, he said. You go to Gaza and see what happens to you there. He said, you'll be thrown off a building. The other chap next to him turned around and he said, no, they won't. He said, because they haven't got any fucking ones left tall enough. Queers for Palestine, is it? So, yeah, I knew it was something like that. But some of these people protesting about all that shit, they really don't have a fucking clue of what's going on. I mean, I don't have much of one because I don't give a fuck about it, so I don't go into it a lot. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if two countries way over there want to bomb the shit out of each other and kill the shit out of each other, let them fucking go ahead. But when you think of most of the terrorism that has happened in the world, Palestine attributes to a lot of it, along with certain areas of Pakistan as well. Yeah, absolutely, Scar. Absolutely. I mean, it's like the blitzkrieg of Britain, isn't it? They're trying to rush everything through and get it all done. Yeah, see, Simon, I don't go into it over there. I very rarely talk about it on the videos. I will point out the fact when certain videos come out from all sides, a lot of them are crisis actors. They're people that are being paid to look like they've been injured or whatever. I've never really cared. The only thing I care about it is what's happening over there isn't affecting this country, but the fucking idiots here think they can protest and push us into doing something about it. Well, we shouldn't even be involved. It's not our fucking fight. same as Ukraine and Russia.
And we can shout at them and tell them to do all, and they won't listen. Nothing we can do over here will make them change their mind.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, Simon, at all. As I said earlier, everybody has their own opinion on things. You know, I don't do religion. I have got opinions on religion. But basically, I know a lot of people, and a lot of normal people, can feel offended when someone takes the piss out of a religion or says something. So I refrain from getting involved in that. You know, I don't deliberately set out to offend anybody. Not that you can give offence, it can only be taken. But yeah, you know, I know people that support Israel. I don't actually know anybody that supports the Palestine side of shit. Yeah, exactly, Simon. It's about the respect. You know, I mean, if I see someone, and we do get them here, when I see the Christians preaching and handing out leaflets in the town centre on the odd occasion when I go up there, you know, I don't walk up and say, "Oh, you're doing well. Sorry about the persecution that you're getting from certain people and you know, the bias of the police against you and the justice system." You know, I just don't do religion, so I don't get involved in it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I said it once in a video. Now, the way I look at religion, every religion there is, and I mean every religion there is, has either got a god or an idol that they profess to be all healing, all believing, all forgiving. Now, if any of them actually fucking had a god that could do that, those gods wouldn't let it happen. What's happening in the world today, would they? If they want everything good and nice and sweet and hunky-dory, they wouldn't let any of this happen. You know, that's the way I look at the religion. Loafer, good evening, mate. All right, Jen, look after yourself, sweetheart. Well, yeah, it's exactly, Gary. I mean, I say I don't do religion. But I've led most of my life living by Christian morals. And as someone rightly put up there, the 10 Commandments. Now, I only live by those because I believe them to be right. I believe them. It doesn't cover everybody, but, you know, there is wrongdoing in the Bible. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That incites violence, you know. But most of them, I feel, are morally correct. So I led my life by them. I'm not a Christian. I've never followed religion. I was confirmed as a young child because my family were Roman Catholic, although that was the only time I ever went to church with them other than a wedding or a funeral. Yeah. You know, it teaches you killing is wrong. Well, killing is absolutely wrong. Okay, thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's wife. Well, yeah, that is one that has been broken in the past, I shall say. I'll leave that there. But I've never felt like coveting my neighbour's fucking cow. But most of them, I believe, are morally right. You know, you don't have to follow a religion to understand that. I love thy Afghan neighbour. Yeah, they quite often covet the neighbour's goats and that, don't they?
That's what the commandments were at the end of the day? They were a list of rules that if you live by them, you weren't going to upset anybody and did have high moral value. Like thou shalt not commit adultery and things like that. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of an adulterous affair.
No.
So it works both ways.
And I do know what it feels like because it has been done to me, and
we've all been on the opposite end
Heather's
of
been
it.
on the end of it as well. So yeah, they're not just for curries, Gary. But I'd worry about the seasoning on them and the sauces. Pardon me. Well, I ain't got nothing else on the notes.
Oh,
there's a bit at the bottom here saying, "Don't forget to call Starmer a dickhead." Well, I've done that many a times already this evening. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, nothing's going to get sorted with these immigrants literally until we dump the ECHR, as far as I'm concerned. And the only one that said he would do that is Farage.
Nigel.
But will he? Won't he? He's got to get in power first. I mean, yes, he could put it forward in Parliament, but we know they won't listen. And Starmer knows that's his biggest defence in keeping immigrants here. So.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, Starmer has nicked his line and said they're going to detain him and send him back.
Hello. Oh, fucking hell.
What?
I've scratched my arm.
Oh, you're bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, I'm bleeding all over me.
Bleeding horrible, you are.
Now I've got to go and get something to mop it up with. I'll be back in a minute. I think I'll pick some on there. Might have been a scab on there.
Bleeding menace. Bleeding menace. So anyway, I asked a question earlier and I don't think I saw any responses at all. Has anybody got any flags up near them? We've got them in our street, and our mate came around the other night and said they've gone up on his road as well. But over the weekend, I went over to see my daughter. It was Sunday, so who knows what happened on Bank Holiday Monday. Went over to see my daughter and we went out, and I did not see one flag on a lamppost, but it was a demographic area that's not as white as they are. So anybody got any flags? Doesn't look like it, does
Stop dying, Roger. Yeah, you know, somebody would turn around and report it as, oh, he's self-harming. All I did was scratch the top off a fucking scab. We have one about 12 floors up in a poor community. Well,
no, that's fair. It only needs one. It only needs one in an area for other people to look and go, yes, that's my flag. That's up there for me.
The thing is, over the flags, people have got to be very careful because, yes, there is a law out there that says you can fly flags from a pole on your own property. Unfortunately, this doesn't apply to council houses. Good evening, Adrian. Because on most tenancy agreements, I know for a fact here in Birmingham council area, there is a clause in there that says you're not allowed to attach anything to the outside of the building.
Tied to the inside
Which
of the window.
includes putting up flagpoles, obviously. But as far as I know, they can't tell you to take them down if they're inside a window. On private property, you can fly the flag, providing the pole is, I think it's below 4.5 meters and has no advertising on it. By law, you can fly that. So yeah, there are different bylaws in different counties, different councils, but there should be something posted on their websites about it. But as a countrywide law, yes, you can hang your Union flag, not Union Jack, and the St. George's Cross.
What gets me is there's areas round here where the moment England have got through to some final or other in the football, or it's one of these huge things, Seven Nations or whatever they call themselves, the St. George Cross goes up everywhere for England football. Everywhere. Those are not in people's windows. That's what I found disappointing. If you're going to put them out there for your football, put them out there for your country. Yep,
that would be deemed illegal, Gary, because it's advertising. Funny enough, Scott, the one about advertising on a flag and what have you, that covers any flags in this country. Doesn't matter what country they come from. Oh.
God bless disappeared.
No, he's still there.
I just hasn't typed anything for a while, and people have been talking to him.
Aye. So yeah, Scott, it does apply to all flags apparently. Oh, this country is well and truly screwed up, Gary. Absolutely, mate. Many years ago, I used to run through various scenarios of which way this country could go. When they started bringing in technology, computers, because, I was never brought up with any of that shit. And I could see back then where things were heading. And I used to say about it, these computers, eventually they'll take over your lives. Well, look at kids of today. Their phone's permanently fixed to their fucking face. And the phones today are a computer. They're not a phone. Being able to make a phone call on it is a side effect of owning one. They're basically a computer. When you think holding that in your hand, and it's got more computing power than what Apollo rockets used to have. So yeah, I could see where technology was leading. Films back in the 30s and 40s. The world run by robots and machines. Why man sits back. Well, that progressed with the Terminator theory, didn't it? That the machines will eventually do away with humans. So we won't be able to just sit back and enjoy machines doing everything for us. Yeah, exactly, Scar. Exactly, mate. Union fucking flags everywhere. Public buildings. Yep. War games. Wally. Yep. Although that was a kiddies one, but it still had that message in there. Wampa in War Games, the two supercomputers taking over.
There's an awful lot of kids' films that have some deep messages in them. And that includes Ice Age.
Fucking hell.
got you. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody go and collect your hazelnuts. Yeah, they do scar. I mean, you look at them now. I mean, there's videos out there of kids going psychotic on their parents because they took their mobile phone away or took their tablet away. And I mean seriously psychotic. 9 and fucking 10-year-olds, for crying out loud. Is it wonder that these kids nowadays don't understand the word no? Mind you, a lot of the older coppers seem to don't understand that either. They've never been told it. But yeah, they can't function without their phone. They literally cannot fucking function. And I've always said, and I will say it again, the parents have got to accept some blame for it. If you're not going to control their online activities, if you're going to go out and pay $2,000 for a fucking phone for a 10-year-old, why?
More money than sense.
Why? Brain melt. Yeah. I mean, there was the theory out there that the radio waves from it can affect your brain and shit like that. You know, look at what's being found out and what's being said about the 5G. You know, there's more than enough evidence to show that plant life suffers from the radiation around these things, or microwaves, or what it is they put out. Oh, hello. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, thank you very much. You are now live.
Yours always does that. Between an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mine go bing the moment you go live.
And apparently the Gov UK site has put out a statement on modified vehicles. Well, I know they've been chopping and changing that because they put a thing in place where you can repair like for like and replace on classic vehicles. Give Starmer 2 phones. But yeah, you know, the kids walking around. I mean, not just kids nowadays. I mean, it's a job to walk through any town or city centre and not see more than 50% of them with their faces glued to their phones. I mean, half of them can't even go out and eat without fucking, this is what we had, this was our server, this is where we were.
I was going to do that on Sunday.
But then, you know, think about it. They complain when people get involved in their private, personal lives. Well, if you're going to show your whole private and personal life on fucking line, what do you expect? You know? I knew technology would eventually be the downfall of not just this country, of every country. And unfortunately, those that are in very remote, backward countries, shall I say, they're the fuckers that have survived because they've done it this far without it. You know, these tribes in the jungle, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, no technology, no machines. They're the ones that will survive because they can live without them. And have done for hundreds and hundreds of years. I've got to stop looking at that. What's that? Is that boy in the lowrider, Gary? Is that a
Yes.
typo?
It's the first one you've noticed. Everything else you've read as normal. I look at things and go, what is that supposed to mean? And you read it like it's English.
Yeah, it's a struggle for people our age and older now. It's because everything's advancing that quick. It's a job for the older people to keep up. Like forcing all pensioners to put in their shit to the government and HMRC and DWP online. You know, they're not used to that. They've never had to do that before. They weren't brought up doing that.
Even just getting hold of a form, you've got to go online and print it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah, okay, a lot of people now have got laptops, but most people ain't got a printer in the house or anything like that. And the thing is, it's hackable. We've seen that time and time again. Finance institutions getting hacked, emergency services getting hacked, even the fucking government and the Secret Service are fucking hacked. Yet they still say, oh, it's the most securest form of business there is. No, it isn't. It's and if you weren't brought up before all this technology, it is probably hard for people to see it that way. Those that have never lived a life without technology. You know, people were far more friendly back then. You know, if you had a disagreement with somebody, you had to do it fucking face to face. You know, there's none of this slagging each other off over the internet for months and months and months. And then somebody getting arrested. It was a case, I disagree with you. Okay, fine. You either disagree and walk away, or one of you ends up getting dropped or gets a good smack around the chops. And that was it. That was the end of argument. And you knew you'd lost an argument because it fucking hurt. You can't do that virtually. Oh, I dare say some boffins can. But
I know not what Gary's on about, do you?
yes, he's on about buying a lowrider.
Calling nanobots, don't touch my rims, go me. For fuck's
That's
sake.
supposed to be homey, I would have thought. Yeah, he said it out of homey, yeah. Yeah, that's they are stopping a lot of the modifications now, Gary. There was one coming in I think it's this year or next year, where yes, you can fit aftermarket parts, but those parts must be either produced or recommended by the vehicle's manufacturer. You won't be able to just go out and buy any old lowering kit, any huge set of rims. Yeah, exactly, Scott. I mean, many a time I've had disagreements in my younger years with people in pubs. Not over politics or anything, just a general disagreement. And the loser of the argument usually goes into the toilet of the pub, wipes the blood off their nose, and you're back at the bar buying each other a drink, saying, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry about that. You know, and that was it. That was the end of the argument. I mean, fuck's sake, me and an old mate of mine, if we couldn't argue and get into a fight with anybody, we'd do it with ourselves. We should fight each other just for a crack. Air suspension and air rams will definitely be outlawed, Gary. Yeah, and I'm not going to disagree with you on that either, Gary. Purple Acai? Who the fuck's Purple Acai, Loafer? It's like the same as these people you go on about writing, but I ain't got a fucking clue who they are. You know, it's not the sort of shit I used to read. You know, Beano, Dandy.
I was going to say, you don't read
I used to.
comics.
Used to. Yeah, I think everybody will agree with you on that, Gary. But it looks like there's a bit of a shake-up going on. There's moves afoot to get him down, and Purple Ackeye likes muscles. Are you smoking the good stuff? Oh, I wouldn't know about that, loafer. I ain't been to a gym for probably the best part of 40 fucking years. I never needed to with the type of work I done. That kept you fit enough and built up enough muscles for what I want.
What I want to know is why does Loafer know this shit? Was he into people like that?
Mosley, well, there's a name from that part of the country, and it like a Purple Ackeye legend. Yeah, never heard of him. Never heard of him. It's like all these people keep coming, oh, yeah, what so-and-so's doing now, you know, with these influencers. I ain't got a clue who they are because I just don't watch the idiots. You know, oh, watch this, that, and the other, MMA and what have you. Well, no.
Yeah, but we don't do sports very much at all, do we?
Motorsport.
Yeah. We don't do football, we don't do rugby, we don't do tennis, we don't do snooker.
Cricket.
Yeah. The list goes on and on. The only thing we do is motorsport, like he says. And he'll watch the bikes and I find them boring. Unless they're crashing. But no, we're bit secluded, I suppose, because we don't follow a lot of these things that other people do. Oh, you must have seen the football. No, I don't watch fucking football.
No, I had no reason to look him up, Gary. You know, it's nothing to do with anything I do my videos on. But even on the motorsport now, I'm falling out with Formula One. I've been for a few years. You know, they've stopped being manly drivers, shall I say, where it was man and machine against each other. Again, it's something where it's computer against computer. And basically, they're in a live version of a game, you know. I still follow the drag racing, obviously, because I'd love to go up there and watch it again, up the pod and that. But, you know, my medical conditions wouldn't allow it. But it's nice the fact that every meeting they put on is streamed live on YouTube.
I'd love to go up there for the first time ever. But it's not well enough anymore.
And it's not bits and pieces either. They showed the whole day. It's, you know, like a 12-hour stream through each day. So that's nice to be able to follow that. And I actually prefer watching the tin tops, the touring cars now more than Formula One. But even they gone technical, mad on the engines and so many restrictive regulations. Exactly what happens to wheels and the steering wheel. They both go round, Gary. Don't kill her.
Yeah, I'm definitely lost.
I have watched some of Count Duckula's stuff, but he doesn't really do stuff I'm interested in.
Isn't he a cartoon, Count Duckula?
No, Count Dankula is an online bloke. Minus the CPU. Well, the modern wheels won't do anything without the CPU in a car because that basically controls everything from steering, suspension settings. Yeah, I mean, you know, we still drive, what is it, a 2011 Focus Estate. You know, there's hardly any of the technology that's in all the modern cars, and the less technology there is, the less there is to go wrong.
Which is the reason we went for that age.
Yeah. Most parts are replaceable. Yeah,
Because we looked at newer stuff.
Oh yeah, we did look at newer stuff, and we even had one of the new ones with the eco engine and the flappy fucking paddles and all sorts of stop go shit and sensors. When we had the hire car, when your drop top got written off, and I drove it once, but it was fucking horrible.
I had to go to fucking work in that thing.
Well, it depends, Gary, on what you're using. If you've got traction control on, anti-lock braking, collision avoidance, then the car's got as much control over what's happening as the human has.
I drive my
If you
car.
haven't got any of that and you've got direct carbureted, naturally aspirated engine, then the driver controls virtually everything, from speed to the amount of power that comes out of the engine, to the amount of fuel that goes into it, the amount of air that goes into it. It's all controlled by humans. Yeah, exactly, Mosley. Exactly. I mean, those things are a fucking liability. I mean, if one has an accident, who do you hold responsible if it's in self-drive mode? Do they hold the car responsible? That's the one that caused the accident, not the driver. But yeah, it's ridiculous. You've got to pay extra subscriptions for this, that, and the other. If you miss a fucking payment, they turn you off.
And you'll step out in front of them because you can't hear them coming.
Yeah. They're hellishly expensive on servicing if you can get a spot to get them serviced, especially in America. The CPU is basically an engine management loafer. It's Starmer said to be taking cars to court. But I wouldn't put that past the fucking idiot, to be honest. But like I always said, until they can put an infrastructure in place and can supply enough cheap energy, electric vehicles will never take over. And they're seeing that now. You know, there's many manufacturers from all around the world are saying, no, you know, we're dropping the electric vehicles. Some of them are looking at hydrogen and other forms of ways of powering them. But they realise what a big mistake the electric vehicles are. But people don't realise they've been around since the 1920s, I think it is. Half the sentence for motorbikes, yeah.
There's no need for milk float.
Yeah, we had electric milk floats. I mean, every dairy had them, virtually. Ford used electric vehicles to move parts around between his factories.
I remember the sound of the milkman coming down the street. the hum of the electric engine and the rattle
Rattle
of
the
the
bottles.
milk bottle.
And that
And
was
his name
old
was
Ernie,
Ernie.
the fastest milkman in the West. Yeah, exactly, Loafer. You know, an electric car. Now, I concede the point of if you live in a city, I'll pick one, let's say London, when it was decent. I can see the advantages of a small electric vehicle if you're just driving around London, if the infrastructure and the power would be there to run it. I totally accept that. If you know, only going a few mile a day or just round the city, yeah, why not have a clean electric vehicle? But as I say, the supply's got to be there, the infrastructure's got to be there to keep it topped up. Obviously, the new thing, well, it's not new, it's been happening ever since the fuck has been about, is the danger of them, in particularly the fires. Easy to start, hard to put out. So you got restrictions on where you can park, where you can charge. Yeah, you might well have an underground car park with a charging point underneath your block of flats where they have you living. But one of them goes up in the bottom. Most places now won't allow you to charge them in a covered area like a garage. Some councils have even, I've heard them stipulate a distance they've got to be from the actual building to charge them.
Which airport was it where they all went whoosh?
Was it Luton? Luton, I think it was. Yeah, but they didn't prove that was an electric vehicle. And
no, but it was a suspect.
Yeah, it was a suspected one that burnt the whole fucking car park down. But yeah, I mean, with everything that they've got in at the moment, CJ leaves pre-phrase studies. Loafer, you're a pervert. But yeah, you know, you look at what's in place in this country now. You can't guarantee a safe water supply. You can't guarantee an electric supply or gas supply.
I'll drink gin.
If we relied on ourselves, you can't afford, or there won't be the food supply. So basically, if we end up in a survival situation, we're fucked. Or the average person would be. Because it doesn't matter how much you store, you will run out at some point. By which time, what is out there in the world will be in even worse state. Oh, hello. What we got coming in here? Incoming on Facebook. That's my mate again. Okay.
Sending you something you saw last week.
Yeah. Oh, no, what? No, don't do that.
Scar, they're actually fitting them into lampposts round here where it's an estate and there's masonettes and buildings that are off the main road, and there's a parking area for the community, and they're putting charging points in lampposts. I don't know how that works, because who pays for that?
It would be a swipe thing on the post. Who that was Benny Slapper? Oh, the little old fella with the glasses.
Oh.
I can't remember his name.
Hang on.
I dare say Mrs. W will soon find out for you. My little researcher in the back there.
Jackie Wright.
Jackie Wright. There you go.
Wright.
Jack Wright.
Jack or Jackie. Jackie Wright, also nicknamed Little Jackie and Uncle Jackie, was a Northern Irish comedian. He is best known for being the bald-headed sidekick of Benny Hill.
There you go.
Fastest Googler in the West and the East.
It's good to have a researcher. No, on it, because you know what I get in. I click on something, I'd fucking cancel the stream trying to look up that or something. So, you know, it's very, very handy and has been many times for sorting out an argument or finding out some facts.
Making you say sorry because I was
Making me say sorry, yes.
I do it
So it has
every
its
time.
disadvantages as well, apparently. You know.
I do it every time. If I know I'm right, I Google it and I point it out to him. Or I go there, sit there and go, Google it. You'll see.
To save any argument now, before I try and figure out who somebody is, I ask her to do it.
Where was Houdini born?
Oh, she does regularly, Gary. I won't tell you how I get punished, but well, at least I've stopped bleeding now.
It's all right, the Houdini question came. We used to go up quizzing in the local pub, and the question came up, where was Harry Houdini born? Now, I happen to know the answer to that question. It's one of the useless bits of shit that's buried away in the back there. And
Hungary.
He would not believe me. And he was in charge of the pen. So I'm like, listen to me. Put it, no. But I know I'm right. No. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put that. I'm going to get. Answer comes out, Hungary. And he looks at me and goes, you were right. No.
There was one night she was right on everything.
Oh, don't tell.
That was when I realised that if she'd looked over my shoulder at the bar, she could actually see the screen on the Quizmaster's laptop. And he just inadvertently had all the answers next to the questions on there.
I have very good eyesight.
So, truth be known, she cheated.
Don't deny that I'm a cheat when it comes to quizzes. If I can win a quiz by cheating and seeing the answer, if the Quizmaster is daft enough to put it where I can see it, it's their fault.
One night only.
But we never.
All right, Gordo, we're almost ready to wind down, mate. But good evening.
We went up there, though, did we really? Because I couldn't see any answers.
It was great. They used to announce at the beginning, oh, you can't use your mobile phones. You're not allowed to Google. Well, she didn't. She just looked over my shoulder and there it was.
It's not cheating if he puts it where you can see it.
It's only cheating if you get caught.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Right. Well, yeah, Gordo's just coming in and I was just about to wind it all down. Anyway, Gordo, hope you're good, mate. Feel free to go back and watch the stream through if you want. It's usually, as usual, it's the same old shit.
Same shit, different day.
Yeah, most of the shit coming from the same places as well.
I'm yawning. It must be stopping up to watch all these fails.
Oh, yeah, because I do follow what's going on with SpaceX. You know, I like to know what the fuck is throwing up there. And I've been following the Starship, obviously. And with the 2 cancellations, the first one I didn't know about because I hadn't even seen that it was going to be launched. But then they reset it all and, yep, the launch is going ahead now. So we sat up here till about 1 o'clock in the morning just to see it get scrubbed. So last night when it was going up, it was about the same time in the UK again. Oh, fuck it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to watch the rerun in the morning.
Why do they pick 12:30 in the morning?
Got a bit lively in Bristol. Yeah, that was the police's fault again, Gordo. putting Antifa in front of the peaceful protesters, and they lost control. Not quite as bad as they did in Liverpool. Was it Liverpool or was it Manchester? I think it was Liverpool. What do you think about this so-called dodgy comet? Oh, the one that's supposed to be an alien spaceship. Yeah, how many times have we heard that over the years? Yeah, alien. Yeah, well, yeah, as I said earlier, Gordo, it's unfortunately, it's blatantly obvious now that the peaceful patriot protests are up against two lots of paid agitators with the lefty loons and the police. They're all paid and they all seem to want to incite the trouble. I did talk about it earlier in the stream about the government wanting to force civil, well, would you call it an uprising? At the moment, it's all sweetness and light, putting the flags up, they take them down, we put them back up. But that's just like a game. But it is sending a very strong message that nobody seems to be reading.
No, they're just not advertising.
Yeah. Are they coming to take Star on their own? I wish they fucking would, Scar. But the thing is, with the way people feel about him and the Labour Party in general, once those guys come out of politics, nobody's going to want to deal with them. Nobody's going to want to talk to them. Nobody's going to want to sit in a fucking restaurant with them while they're in there.
They're not allowed to, most of them anyway, are they?
They'd just be ostracised from society. And, well, we should be doing it now. And in many ways, it is. But, right. Anyway, perfect timing. His loafer brought up the books again. That is it tonight, guys. Very enjoyable stream again tonight. People are seeing, yeah, you can disagree with people without getting worked up. Oh, good evening, Finn. It's the neighbour's little dog. Obviously, at the moment, as I say every week, I'm not putting out that much in the way of videos. But I am feeling a little bit better with myself because it is helping me with my health. So, as you can hear, I'm a bit bummed up now. I've got big problems with my sinuses. I've had it for years. So. Thank you, Gary. But, yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Didn't open the panel, but there you go. Anyway, I said I'd see how it goes. But as always, it's that time where it's good night from me.
Oh, and me.
And as always, guys, no matter what you're doing, where you're going, stay safe, stay strong, and stay free. And remember the warnings about travel to London. Not this weekend, next weekend. They will try and stop you getting there. And please, please heed the warnings. Don't cause trouble. Don't rise to anything. Don't rise to any provocation. And prove that we are the peaceful people. It's not us that causes the problem. So respects to everybody and good night.
Good night, all.